We recently had a full moon here. Apparently Mars was next to it and it would have been absolutely amazing, but being the UK we were under a lot of cloud, so I decided to paint my own moon instead. Hi, I'm Jackie Smurden. This is Dunnock Studio, the home of art with a heart from the heart of Norfolk, UK. Welcome and let's have some fun with some watercolours. So let's have a go. We'll make our own effort to make a beautiful full moon with minimal effort, and it doesn't matter if there's clouds because we'll still have our own version. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've got one of my new brushes that I did on a previous video about brush sizes. And this one is see if we can get you to see it, a Pro Art Proline 101 England, size 10. Can you see that size? Quite hard to pick that up. Size 10, just see it just about there. So this size 10 might be different to your size 10. In other words, use whichever brush you like. This one is solid, literally. It's just come out of its packaging. So the first thing you need to do is to soften the bristles up in water. The bristles are just held in shape by gum arabic, which is the same gum that's inside your watercolours. It just helps the bristles to stay nice and straight in transit. This one's got quite a lot on it. It's taken a little while to soften, so I'm just going to let it sit in there. So I'm going to do 3 pictures here, and in England, when I'm filming this, we're supposed to have a full moon tonight with Mars sitting on the side of it. So it's supposed to be a spectacular view, and having had frost and snow for the last week, guess what? Tonight is cloudy. Won't be able to see a thing, which is quite normal. So by the time that I spoke to you, this is now all soft and all of that gum arabic has gone. So we're going to do 3 little moon pictures, nice and quick. Well, I say that, but you know me and my videos. I'm going to start with the cheapest black I have got. This is a Reeves watercolour ivory black, and I had no idea how old this is. It's part of a set that was given to me. It was made in China. It's made for Reeves of England, and it's what you call a very low quality watercolour. However, some people, might be all you have. So please don't ever think you have to go and throw your watercolours away if you've been given an old set. This is the whole point, is experiment. So I've used washi tape here. One of a recent subscriber mentioned that on the video about using masking tape. So let's have a go with washi tape. I find it tends to peel off for me a little bit. And I'm using Saunders Waterford here. I would just suggest you use any watercolour paper that's got a bit of a tooth, a little bit of a cold pressed surface, or even a rough surface would be good. So I'm going to start with that really, really inexpensive black. So I'm just mixing some up here. Got a bit of a blob in there. And before I pop that onto the paper, because we are doing a little bit of wet in wet here, just going to get any old brush and just splash some water across here, not too much. Don't want this soaking wet, just enough to dampen the surface a little bit, get that paint to flow. So when you're doing this, you have to sort of look sideways. Can you see if it's got a sheen on it? If it's got a sheen on it, not so worried about this bottom bit, but this top area. If it's got a sheen on it, you can then trust the paint will move, but don't overdo it because you don't want the paint flowing off across the page. So here we go, Reeves plain old black. Let's see how this works. One thing you could do is to get a roll of masking tape, or even a roll of normal size masking tape, and just pop it under the top of your board or in this case a block, just to help it move down the page. So there we go, just let that come down. Now I'm not worried about skies or things here, but this is just a painting of the moon. So let's bring that down there. I'm letting this just settle a little bit, and then as I come down I'm going to add some water in to join up here, maybe leave a little mark or two somewhere, and just let that fill in there. This is settling. I'm just trying to get an angle on here. It's wet still, it's wet. I'm just going to leave it a minute longer. I'm looking for that soft sheen finish. Whilst that's doing that, I'm just going to put some thicker paint on down here, just to suggest we've got something like land or something here, who knows. Maybe some trees. Could add these on again later once it's dried. Let's just get them on. Okay, now just going to soft sheen here, and I'm going to start off with a good old piece of kitchen roll. Can you see there's texture on this one? A little bit of texture, yeah. So get a coin and get hold of it, any size coin that you like. Double over your paper. Oops, it's alive. Twist it around your coin carefully so you don't tear it. Just get it so you can handle it, like something like that. And then, ready? Let's see what happens. Gonna go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ta-da! And we have a moon. It's come out quite well actually. If you do it too soon, the dampness will quickly run back into it. If you do it too late, you won't pull off enough. Now at this point, you could go back in and drag clouds across the moon, etc. You could paint back into it to make it a crescent moon, but you know what? I'm just going to leave that just as it is. So, first one done. Phew! Quick wash of a brush. Now we're moving on to an English company called Jackman's, and they are Jackman's Art Materials, and this is Oxide Black brackets Lunar Black, and these are handmade watercolours. And again, I've met these guys on Patchin's Art Festival. So let's see, let's go back to what we did before. We need a damp-ish. The washi tape's doing well, isn't it? It's not coming up too much. My paper's slightly coming up into a shape of slight buckle there, but that's fine. Da-da-da-da. That's a little bit wetter than last time, so we'll see what happens there. So whilst that's just sinking in a minute, start mixing up this lunar black. Sounds promising, doesn't it? Lunar black. What is that going to give us? Let's just see what happens. Let's put it up here. Okay. So it's quite a lot stronger, isn't it, than the first one we did. Drag that. You could try and leave some spaces on the damp paper for some clouds if you want. And oh, that's quite a lot stronger there. Might have overdone the strength there. Doesn't matter. Let's go all the way down. Let's put some of this. There's some nice dry brush marks there. Dry brush is just your brush on its side on paper that isn't wet. Can you see how you get those nice drag marks there? But you have to sometimes get the paint off your brush first, either with a towel or just because you've been using it elsewhere. Rinse that off and then just try and drag this down a little bit. This one is a lot harder to control. There's much more going on in here. There we go. Oh my goodness, look at that. We're getting granulation, all sorts of patterning here. So I'm going to go back in with my kitchen. No, actually, I'll change paper. So Here's some blue sort of DIY type of, you know, put it in your workshop type of, I've stolen it off my husband type of paper, which is a lot less expensive than kitchen roll. Let's just be brave and try this. So this is still quite wet, so I am going to wait just a minute or two. So whilst I'm waiting, I'll pick up some really thick paint onto the tip of my brush, just the tip. This paint's a lot thicker than the paint I've just put on. And I might just suggest, whoops, so thick it's a great big blob. Just suggest some trees. Very gentle suggestion. We're not doing a full painting, we're not doing a complete work of art here, we're having some fun. There we go, it's a few more. Good tip with your trees, just wiggle your brush, but make sure your trees touch each other. That generally makes them look a lot more natural. If I was putting on damp paint now that's similar to the paint that's on there, it would just push this paint all over the place. It wouldn't work very well. So make sure the paint you're putting on is a lot thicker, less water. Right, that's on. And here comes my blue studio roll. Very expensive elite stuff this is. Now ready? Let's go for it. Going to head towards a dark area because you get maximum benefit. I generally leave it on for about 10 seconds, but this isn't the exact science, this is just playing. I think my roll isn't going to be quite as tight a circle, so let's have a look. Interesting, it's almost got its own cloud across it already. Well, I didn't expect that to happen. Quite interesting one. Okay, right. This is why playing with your paints is such a good idea, because you have no idea what's going to happen. The day that you realise that your watercolours are completely out of your control and you just go with it, that's the day you start to enjoy watercolours. Trying to control them and think, oh yes, this is going to go my way, 100%, it's not going to go the way I don't want it to, it's going to behave itself, you are probably not going to enjoy watercolours. It's just one of those mediums. I got into watercolour during lockdown, it was the only thing I had available, and I just decided to start painting and painting away. And I thought, what can I do with these sketches? So I set myself a challenge. I painted 100 and I put them online on my Instagram channel, which is Dunnock Studio, and offered them for sale. And I raised a few £100 for my local charities, 3 different ones. So that was really nice. And people got a painting for themselves as well. So that it was lovely. So by the time I'd finished my 100th, I had improved quite considerably. So persistence, patience, that's the thing. You've got to keep trying. The more you play with your watercolours and stop trying to produce a perfect painting, the more likely you are to enjoy it and then succeed, because you're not doing this to create masterpieces that are worth millions of pounds or dollars. You're doing this to relax and enjoy yourself. So have a play. So this is Sheen's going slightly off here. Now the last one is, oh my goodness, what has she got? She has got one of those really, really naughty Daniel Smith colours. Let's see if I can... There we go, finally. So this is a treat, and the reason I thought this is, friend let me borrow a little blob of it. So I already knew that I liked it. That's a good thing to do if you can get friendly with a local artist. See, this moon is slightly absorbed some of the paint back into it, so it's not as bright as this one. Okay, Moonglow, let's see, what have you got? So Daniel Smith being a highly respected brand, but also highly respected prices. So, oh, it's completely different colours to the other two. So obviously this isn't called black, whereas the other two had the word black in the name. This is looking quite lovely. Just need that slant on this to come a little bit more. I'm going to work with this one. Just need a bit more water in this puddle. See how it's just got a little bit of a rill here because I don't stretch my paper, which you probably already knew. So I've just gone back into that area, which is, try not to do that. Don't do as I do, do as I say. Just means you're just mushing the paint around. So here we go, we've got some stuff going on here, and this bit is completely dry. So if I show you, if I start at the bottom with my brush sideways, just keep it parallel to the dry paper and you get that lovely effect. And you can either make it wetter and so it fills in a little bit if you want to, or you can leave it nice and light. It's up to you. These are just abstract shapes. Just show you one little trick while we're letting that settle. If you've got a stick, cocktail stick, toothpick, whatever you want to call it, and you've got one of those handy and this is damp, is you can drag up into it, into some tree shapes, and you get surprisingly interesting things happen with the paint. She says, hopefully. Please work. Again, don't overthink it, just scribble. A little bit of trees and shrubs going on here. Let's have some down the front. You can even drag that paint up, look. Okay, that sheen's going off. I better put a little wiggle on and get my coin wrapped up ready for my final moon of the workshop. I've gone back to my kitchen roll this time. Doubled up, tight round that coin. Let's go a bit higher up there. I try and aim for the darker areas so you get the maximum contrast. You could have a smaller coin, it would give you a sort of a tiny moon that's maybe just disappearing over the horizon. This is your painting, so you just play with it. Nice, again, a nice soft moon on that one. So we could, other things you could pop on there could be salt. This one doesn't need salt. It's unbelievable. Let me just lift this up. So this one has got, look at all that texture. You could not paint that if you tried. That is why people spend money on expensive pigments, because they give you some incredible results if you leave them alone. This is the cheap, really cheap black. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I could embellish it, I could add pen, could do all sorts of things. Got a little bloom there. Can you see that bloom in the corner there? That's because the tape had some dampness on it and that has run back into the painting. That's what they call a run back or a cauliflower. Now, I don't mind them, but in this particular painting, if this was my masterpiece, it would take away from that moon, wouldn't it? It's taking your eye somewhere else. So it's not a mistake. It's just one of those things that happens sometimes, and sometimes you can use it to your advantage. So down here I've got a thick blob of paint which was probably not quite mixed in because I was doing it in a hurry. This one is still quite damp. You can't really see that. The moon naturally gave itself its own cloud, so I've left well alone. And then the trees were added on quickly, but they were much thicker paint. So if you add water on, you get that bloom effect. That could sometimes work. You could get bloom trees, which equally look good. But just a bit of rough, dry brush in there. And then let's have a look at Moonglow. Oh yes, that is really quite pretty, isn't it? So you've got splitting colours. See, look at that. So again, this is a pigment mix that is going to set you back a few pounds or dollars. But if you like that effect, you have to just pay that little bit extra for that sort of beautiful granulation and the colours splitting apart as they do their thing on the paper. And there's my scratching in with a little stick. And there is the dry brush, which is easy on this paper because it's got a nice tooth to it. So there we go. So you have done, or you will be doing, some moon pictures which are quite easy to do and give you a whole lot of fun trying out different colours from your paint box. Try all sorts of colours, and maybe you can pull out, instead of a moon, you have a sun, so you could have a sunset coloured background and pull out a sunshine, and just see what you can do. It's just a simple little trick, and gives you a little bit of fun, so I hope you enjoyed that. So this washi tape really did work quite well. It peels off really easily, which is one of the benefits of it. I suppose I don't normally use washi tape because it's so pretty. It feels like a waste because it's not going to stay, it's not going to be kept, although some people do keep their tape for doing collages afterwards. I've got so much stuff kept for collage, I need another studio, so I'm very wary of what I keep. But washi tape, I suppose when you're using it like this, it looks pretty and it makes you feel good. So yeah, I completely understand why people would use it. And there you go, you get that instant framing effect. 3 pictures in one there, not quite even sizes, but I hope that demonstrates how easy it is to pull out a moon or indeed a sunshine, and how different paints perform on the paper. And your very inexpensive paint is still going to give you a really interesting technique, and it's going to look interesting. It's nothing that's wrong about that, it's just compared with these two, it's just that little bit flat, there's not so much going on, but it depends on your style. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. Here are the 3 moons, that could be whichever one you like the best, is because as you're attracted to it. Could be the colour, could be the contrast, could be you might not like any of them, that's absolutely fine, but the trick is to go and paint your own, let the paint do the work for you. So there you go, try your colours, try and use something dark, because obviously it won't show up. And the Moonglow was a colour, it was a lovely colour. The other 2 were black. The cheapest black I could possibly find, it must be yonks old really. But you can still paint with these, and then something really nice and granulating and strong lunar black. So there'll be, if you can't get these in where you live, then there'll be something similar to suppliers. So have a little look for something called oxide black, lunar black, it's the same thing. Whereas this one is ivory black, it's just a cheap and cheerful watercolour you can get from any craft store. So I hope that helps. Please go and enjoy painting the moon, and maybe you can see it. I can't see it tonight, it's too cloudy, but never mind. So until the next time, happy painting, enjoy yourselves, remember, experiment and have fun, and I'll see you soon on the next video. Bye for now.